to the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. The mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie was kidnapped from her Tucson home 12 days ago. Tonight, investigators have a better description of a masked suspect caught on camera. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle.
An 84-year-old widow dependent on heart medication vanished without a trace from her home in just 41 fateful minutes as cameras were disabled. A ransom note appeared, and the FBI now suspects a traitor within her inner circle sold out family information, raising the chilling question of who committed this perfect crime and where Mrs. Nancy is now, while leaving everyone to wonder what truly happened and inviting viewers to comment below, like, and subscribe to continue decoding this dark truth. More than 44 days have passed since Mrs. Nancy Guthrie, an 84-year-old widowed woman, vanished without a single trace from her own home in the Catalina foothills area of Tucson, Arizona, leaving behind an unresolved mystery that still haunts investigators and the community alike. This story is not merely an ordinary disappearance, but a profound reminder of the fragility of life itself and the fragile value of trust within a community. As Mrs. Nancy, the mother of famous host Savannah Guthrie, and a grandmother who lived with unwavering faith, suddenly became the center of an unanswered mystery that continues to echo deeply. She depends entirely on daily heart medication to sustain her life while her family remains in a state of anxious, unrelenting worry as they continue waiting desperately for any news. The Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) has released significant information suggesting that someone was allegedly hired to supply internal details about the incident, with the wording carefully underscoring that this was a meticulously planned and calculated crime. The buyer needed information they could not obtain themselves. The seller held access to private details, and a price was exchanged, suggesting that this critical information could only have come from someone within the victim's inner circle of trust. Mrs. Nancy's fragile health condition has left everyone deeply alarmed, and to this day, no proof of life has been publicly released, while the ransom letters were not even sent directly to the family, but instead delivered to newspaper offices, intensifying the fear and confusion surrounding the case. Both deadlines passed in silence, and Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos stated on national television that he believes this was a pre-planned crime, suggesting that Mrs. Nancy's home was deliberately targeted based on leaked internal information. A task force has been formed with 5 officers from the Pima County Sheriff's Department alongside numerous FBI agents working full-time as the investigation relentlessly tightens its net, signaling that authorities are closing in on the truth behind the case. The FBI requested surveillance footage from the public for January 11th and January 24th, weeks before Mrs. Nancy disappeared on February 1st, indicating that investigators are now tracking possible early scouting and pre-incident surveillance patterns. The Catalina foothills area is a large community with many elderly residents living alone, and the selection of a specific house and a specific victim strongly suggests that the target was not chosen by chance, but deliberately identified in advance. Experts have analyzed that there must have been detailed knowledge of daily routines, household structure, and even security camera blind spots, pointing to the possibility that this was the kind of information only someone within a trusted inner circle could have provided. The story serves as a reminder that trust is the foundation of every relationship, yet it must also be guarded carefully and wisely. Friends and neighbors in the community are now sharing information responsibly, with many people rechecking their home surveillance systems and reporting any unusual details to the authorities. This is how the community demonstrates solidarity and mutual support during difficult times, as Mrs. Nancy, once a cherished part of warm family gatherings who always looked forward to Sunday church after weekend dinners, has disappeared, leaving a profound void in the hearts of her loved ones. The Guthrie family has cooperated unconditionally with investigative agencies, and all members, including siblings and their spouses, were officially ruled out as suspects in a statement by Sheriff Nanos on February 16th. They have no criminal records and no verified motive for the crime, while online rumors about debts or powers of attorney have been thoroughly investigated and dismissed, as the family remains focused solely on finding Mrs. Nancy rather than engaging with speculation. Tommaso, Mrs. Nancy's son-in-law and a science teacher, brought her home at 9:48 p.m. on January 31st, making him one of the last known people to see her alive. Despite this, he and the entire family have been cleared, and their full cooperation reflects a strong sense of responsibility toward both the law and their loved ones, reminding us that we should not rush to conclusions based on rumors, but instead wait for verified information from official authorities. A long-standing friendship between Tommaso and Dominic Evans has been referenced in public analyses, as the two co-founded the band Early Black in 2007 and maintained a close connection for nearly 2 decades. They practiced together, shared schedules, and gradually became close enough to meet each other's families, while Dominic Evans, a 5th grade teacher in Tucson, later confirmed to the press that he only met Mrs. Nancy once in 2011 and said he learned of her disappearance through social media before texting Tommaso to check in. Public records from Pima County Court indicate that Dominic Evans has a history involving several past charges, including theft and other matters, although it must be emphasized that law enforcement has not filed any official charges connecting him to this case. He voluntarily cooperated with the FBI and the Sheriff's Department in a roughly 40-minute interview, after which he was not contacted further and was not considered an official suspect, while Sheriff Nanos later expressed sympathy for his situation as his family faced harassment from amateur online sleuths. Evans and his wife Andrea, a school principal, have come under intense public pressure, with him sharing that he feels deeply hurt and that his family is struggling under the weight of scrutiny, while Sheriff Nanos advised him to seek legal counsel to protect his rights if necessary. His cooperation with authorities reflects a strong sense of civic responsibility, and the story serves as a reminder to the community that every individual deserves respect and due process until clear evidence is established by the law. The band Early Black once released an album titled Life, Love, Love, Murder, and while their music often explores darker aspects of life, this title in the current context has led many people to pause and reflect more deeply. However, it is important not to overspeculate and instead rely on verified facts, as music is simply a form of human emotional expression and storytelling, and many artists explore complex or dark themes in their work that are not connected to their real-life actions. On the fateful night of January 31st, Mrs. Nancy had dinner with her family at her daughter and son-in-law's home, then took an Uber back, and at 9:50 p.m. a garage camera captured her safely entering the house. At 1:47 a.m. on February 1st, the doorbell camera was disconnected. At 2:12 a.m. motion sensors were triggered, and at 2:28 a.m. the pacemaker stopped syncing. The entire sequence unfolded in roughly 41 minutes, and bloodstains discovered at the entrance suggest the incident occurred rapidly and with serious force. Experts, former FBI agents, and police analysts suggest that the brief time frame indicates a high level of planning and execution, while noting that Mrs. Nancy, at 84 years old with fragile health, would have had a very low chance of survival if she had been moved under harsh conditions. The ransom letters being sent to the media rather than directly to the family stand out as an unusual anomaly compared to typical kidnapping cases with FBI agent Heath Yanka, noting that criminals in most situations communicate directly with relatives, and the fact that all deadlines passed without any further developments has only deepened public concern and unease. The Guthrie family has offered a $1 million reward for information leading to the discovery of Mrs. Nancy, with the FBI adding an additional $100,000, while the hotline 1-800-CALL-FBI and the website tips.fbi.gov continue to receive incoming information from the public. Thousands of hours of surveillance footage from the surrounding area are being meticulously reviewed, while a mixed DNA sample collected from inside Mrs. Nancy's house is undergoing analysis at a private laboratory in Florida, reflecting the determined efforts of law enforcement to pursue justice for the victim. The story of Mrs. Nancy Guthrie is not just news, but also an important lesson for the community about personal safety and security, reminding that elderly people living alone should consider installing modern camera systems and maintaining regular contact with family members. Neighbors are encouraged to remain alert to any unusual activity in their area, especially during nighttime hours, and to share relevant surveillance footage with authorities when requested as a way to support collective safety and community protection. We also learn that trust must always go hand in hand with vigilance, as in long-term friendships or creative collaborations. Such as a band, people often naturally share personal aspects of their lives over time. However, when unusual signs appear, it is essential to report them to the authorities immediately rather than remaining silent, and the Tucson community continues to show solidarity by supporting the Guthrie family and sharing any available evidence, demonstrating the strength of collective unity and cooperation. What do you think about the role of surveillance technology in protecting the elderly in modern society? Is there anything more we can do to prevent planned crimes early on? And how can we balance respecting privacy with community security needs? These questions are worth reflecting and acting upon for each of us. If you found this post useful, please like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with responsible news coverage and meaningful lessons drawn from real-life events, as your support helps spread positive messages and encourages the community to look out for and protect one another. In the context that the case remains under active investigation, all information must be carefully verified, as experts emphasize that spreading rumors can harm innocent individuals and potentially delay the search and resolution process. Instead, we should focus on supporting the family and cooperating with law enforcement, as Mrs. Nancy, a mother and grandmother with strong faith, deserves to be found and safely returned to her loved ones. Every human life is precious, especially for the elderly who have devoted their lives to family and society, and Mrs. Nancy's disappearance serves as a reminder of our shared responsibility to protect those who are most vulnerable. Families should establish clear safety plans, including regular health checkups and the use of medical tracking devices, while communities can also organize educational programs focused on crime prevention and personal safety for the elderly. The FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department are working tirelessly, with the full-time task force having recovered additional images from scene cameras and now reviewing thousands of hours of footage from specific dates in January as part of their ongoing effort to reconstruct the timeline and uncover critical evidence. The request for surveillance footage from the public indicates that investigators are systematically expanding the scope of their search, and this persistence reflects a strong commitment to pursuing justice and offering hope to the Guthrie family. Dominic Evans spoke publicly to the New York Times in late February, expressing his distress over the harassment faced by his family and emphasizing that innocent people are being harmed in the aftermath of the ongoing public attention. His wife, a school principal, was also affected in her daily life, and Sheriff Nanos publicly expressed support for him, describing his situation as going through hell, which highlights how authorities are attempting to balance an active investigation with the protection of civil rights. The 17-year band relationship between Tommaso and Dominic reflects a normal part of creative life, as many bands endure over the years through shared practice performances and long-standing memories together. Sharing personal lives in that context is natural, but the current incident also serves as a reminder that when unusual circumstances arise, all relationships must be carefully examined within a legal framework and supported by verified facts. Mrs. Nancy Guthrie is seen as a symbol of a life grounded in faith and deep family love, and her disappearance has drawn nationwide attention, with many people hoping and praying for her safe return. Experts ranging from former FBI agents to local police emphasize that this case demands patience and full cooperation from all sides, urging the public not to let rumors obscure the facts, but instead to trust the legal process as it works to uncover the truth. The story also serves as a reminder about elderly health, as reliance on daily heart medication, like Mrs. Nancy's, requires close monitoring by family members, while community health programs can help provide regular checkups and education on warning signs, and when combined with home security measures, this creates a more comprehensive layer of protection for older generations. Tommaso Chioni, in his role as both a teacher and family member, has demonstrated full cooperation with investigators, while Dominic Evans has also participated in interviews and maintained his stated alibi. Although public speculation continues to circulate widely, authorities are handling the case strictly on the basis of verified evidence, reinforcing an important lesson about respecting the judicial process and avoiding hasty judgments. The Catalina foothills area, with its many homes and large population of elderly residents, calls for increased patrols and stronger security awareness, while community groups can hold meetings to exchange experiences on installing cameras and responding to emergencies, as this kind of proactive cooperation helps reduce risks and strengthen mutual trust among neighbors. The FBI has clearly stated that someone was allegedly hired to provide information, emphasizing that the crime was not random but carefully planned in advance, and the community is urged to increase awareness in order to recognize and report unusual signs at an early stage. We can learn from similar cases around the world where communities have played an important role in supporting the search for missing persons, including the responsible use of social media to share verified information from authorities such as the FBI. Avoiding the spread of fake news will help preserve a constructive atmosphere and keep attention focused on the shared goal of locating Mrs. Nancy. In music and art, humans often explore complex themes such as love life and even its darker sides, and the band Early Black, with its album title, represents a part of that broader creative journey. It should not be directly linked to reality, but instead viewed within an artistic context, as many artists produce profound works exploring complex themes while their personal lives remain entirely normal and law-abiding. Sheriff Nanos and his team are receiving federal support from the FBI, and their press conferences and public statements help keep the public informed and provide a clearer understanding of the ongoing progress in the investigation. The request for camera footage from 2 specific days in January shows a methodical investigative approach, and the public is encouraged to continue cooperating by reviewing and submitting any relevant archived data if available. The educational lesson from this incident also lies in safeguarding personal information, as in the digital age, everyone must be cautious about what they share on social media. Details about homes, daily routines, and families can be exploited if they fall into the wrong hands, so cybersecurity awareness should be strengthened through education in schools and within the wider community. Have you ever thought that a long-standing friendship could inadvertently provide sensitive information? Does your family have a plan to protect the elderly? Yet. And how can our community improve to better support vulnerable people? These reflections will help build a safer and more humane society. If this content brings value to you, please like the video to encourage the creation of more quality posts. Mrs. Nancy Guthrie, with her quiet porch and simple way of life, has become a symbol of the shared concerns many families feel for their elderly loved ones. Her story reminds us to cherish every moment with our family, to check on the health and safety of our parents and grandparents today, because a small action can prevent a great tragedy. It also shows us that justice, though sometimes slow, will eventually come. Each of us has a role in building a society that condemns crime and protects its victims. Let's live with compassion and responsibility so no one has to suffer alone, and Mrs. Nancy can soon return home to continue her peaceful life with her family.